not just about women. It's anything that's ever articulated with that tone of voice, with that kind of ridicule and derision, is just a voice that is against all of humanity. And it doesn't matter who it's turned on, what minority, what people group, what segment of society it's turned upon. It is a violent voice against people. And I had forgotten that that is the voice that is against all of humanity. I had forgotten that being in this space, standing for the magnificence of humanity, living a life wanting to discover the magnificence in every person, and wanting to unlock people's ability to see that for themselves, is violently opposed. It's violently opposed. And that there are people who have been overwhelmed with a perspective that their only answers to their questions will come through a violent oppression or obliteration of others. And whatever level that looks like, whether it's the slight demeaning voice that you have with a waiter, or a house cleaner, or someone who's working at a job that you consider small, if it's that little violence that's expressed through you, or even just looking at jobs as demeaning and devaluing and people as worthless, or whether it's a consistent, ongoing campaign to press down the voice of a specific segment of humanity, it's all that same voice of violence that is against us. And it can turn against this segment and just as quickly turn right back around on you. Do you know? When that voice is being voiced by you, it's the same voice that comes after you. And so I realized, Lord, I don't even know what I don't know, about the voices that I have allowed to come through me, and the voices that I have also then allowed to speak to me. So it raised a new question for me. What does this mean? What shall I do? But I will tell you the relief that I felt watching this video, and the funny thing of it was that he was talking about a specific woman, and he called her a narcissist, and because she says that when she preaches, she puts herself in the perspective of Scripture and wants to see how she would experience that specific thing, and that is narcissistic to put yourself into Scripture. And then he said, just because you have sold jewelry on television and you have certain hawking skills or certain charismatic qualities doesn't give you the right to think that you can preach. The crazy thing about that is that she has never done that. She's never sold jewelry on television, and she's never hawked stuff on TV. But I have. This girl has. And I was like, what? I almost wanted to read. I was going to listen to it again and go, was that really in there? Because I kind of thought maybe I was making it up in my head, right? And no, it's there, and she never did that, but I did, and I felt like it was this really targeted, it just blessed me. It really, really blessed me. Right? Because we get to take every single thing that is targeted against us because of the goodness of God and find goodness. So if our budget is beating us up, if our family relationships are beating us up, whatever violence is coming into your life through whatever avenue, we get to say, I see what I'm up against, not against flesh and blood. And I get to take that and let God turn it into a blessing for me. And most of you know the story that Graham Cook shares, but I'm just going to take a moment and share it, which is Graham was on an airplane and a gentleman was sitting next to him, and he waited until they took off, and then he said, so I just want you to know that I'm a Satanist, which, okay. And he goes, and I am here to curse you and all that you're doing. And I know, right? Isn't that, like, do people even do that anymore? Is that even like a thing? Like, seriously, it just feels so like, I don't know, 1980s. But anyway, so, right? But anyway, he goes, I'm gonna curse you. And Grandma's like, okay, well, wait just a minute. I need to get out a pen and paper because I got to write this down. And he was like, what? And he's like, well, I'm going to curse you. And he's like, excellent, super great. Just let me I have to wait till the seatbelt light goes off so I can get my pen and paper. If you could just wait just a couple of minutes. I'm sure it'll just be a few minutes. So the guy's like totally perplexed. So he waits for Graham to get his pen and paper so he can write down. And he starts cursing him. And he's like, dude, this is not very good cursing. This is not good enough. I need you to get better than this. I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, I need to go to the bathroom. So I want you to think about this. Here's a piece of paper. You can take some notes and write some things down. Because I've been promised by God that every curse against me will be turned into a blessing. And these aren't going to get me squat. These are just not that good. So I need something more to work with here. So I'm going to run to the restroom. I'll come back, and you better get some better cursing. And so he did. And I'm telling you, I felt like when I was watching that video that I was like, oh, for the first time in the presence of a voice that tells me as a woman I am nothing, that I don't deserve to have a voice, that I don't carry the same goodness of God as every other human being on the planet, and that I don't carry the same presence, and I don't have the same partnership with God. I stood in the presence of that voice of accusation, and I went, oh, I know you. Oh, I know you. And I'm not mad at you anymore. I'm not mad at you anymore. And now I know what I am up against. I'm not up against small-mindedness. I'm not up against bigotry. I'm up against a violent voice that wants to demolish all of humanity. Game on. Game on. Game on. Game on in the house situation. Game on in the career situation. Game on in relationships. Game on in finding your husband. Game on in health. Game on. Game on. Right? Game on. Let's game on. These things that have been beating us up, making us feel small, making us feel powerless, making us feeling afraid. Game on. Let's take the pain and the hurt of the past and turn it into blessing. Let's take it before the Lord, put it on an altar, put it in our hands and go, okay, I double dog dare you to take the pain of my story and turn it into blessing, to turn it into goodness. So, game on. Whew. Okay, that's what I got. So, we are going to do our practice, and I have no idea what we're going to do.